A Gay and A NonGay is a podcast from James Barr and Dan Hudson. Whether you identify as gay or non-gay, you'll totes be offended by this.
Dan has admin. No, Dan-min.
Admin number one. We are playing the London Podcast Festival.
Is there a way of making that work? Dan-min.
Dan-min, maybe. Does that work?
Admin. No, it doesn't.
Anyway, we're playing the London Podcast Festival on the 17th of September. James, don't yawn when I'm trying to talk about the podcast festival.
I'm so sorry.
For God's sake.
I'm so sorry. It's going to be really cool, actually. I'm really excited about seeing some of the other podcasts live. And it's such an odd thing to see a podcast live.
Yeah.
But it really excites me. And Dan has promised to perform one of his songs at the event.
I'm not sure I have.
No, if we sell out, Dan is going to perform Taxi for Paul's seminal hit, Marketing Dream.
Right, admin over.
I thought that would shut you up. Welcome to A Gay and A NonGay.
Okay, so James, last time the listeners of the podcast and myself heard from you, you were having a meltdown because basically you weren't having a meltdown about this guy, and that was causing you to have a meltdown. Why do you keep yawning every time I say something?
I wasn't yawning. I was just like, oh, God. No, I am now having a meltdown about this guy.
Oh, God, why?
Well, because of a couple of things, actually. And I'm not sure I should talk about them because I don't think he listens to this, but I know people he knows that do listen. So, and I don't know if they know that I'm talking about him. And I'll be careful not to say his name. But I don't know, he cooked for me. I don't know. I feel really uncomfortable talking about it, Dan. I'm not sure where I'm at with it.
Can you just give us the headline?
He cooked for me. I said, thank you for a lovely night the next day on text. And he wrote back, no worries. That felt really odd.
Why?
I don't know.
There wasn't
I feel like I'm needing a bit of validation back from this guy, and I'm not really getting it.
What?
So I feel like I put a lot of energy in by saying like nice things. Okay, here's the real alarm bell. Okay, here's the actual alarm bell. You ready? I said, I don't know. I said something like, you're really cute or something. And he said, can you stop being nice to me? Can you just be a twat to me like all my other exes? And I was like, no.
What does that mean?
Actually, he said, can you just be a twat like my other boyfriends? Not that you're my boyfriend. But it unnerved me that he said that. I felt like that was a problem.
You find problems in like the smallest things.
That is a problem.
What's the problem? That
he's effectively told me not to be nice to him. Now, whether he means it as a joke or not, which is probably what everyone is thinking, oh, he means it as a joke. He's just being funny. I didn't feel like it was a joke. I feel like he's uncomfortable when I pay him compliments, and he doesn't want compliments because of that, because of how he's been treated previously. And that's fine. I understand that, but that's not, I think that's a deal breaker for me. Someone that doesn't want me to pay them a compliment.
Do you not think you're just getting upset unnecessarily?
No, Dan, because I think he's awesome and he doesn't think he's awesome. And I don't want to be told not to be myself. I don't want to be editing myself. Oh, I can't tell you're looking hot because you don't want me to tell you that because actually you'd rather I was an arsehole. I'm not going to be an arsehole. But also there's a pressure put on me then as well. He's like immediately put a pressure on me to not hurt him because he's telling me that all his other, and he did also say that. He said all my other exes have hurt me. And I now feel like a lot of pressure to not do that. And I wasn't going to anyway. And he also told me that he'd asked our mutual friend what they thought of me. Like he'd done a background check. This is what he actually said. He said, I've done a background check. And I'm like, okay, I don't like that. And I said, I don't really like that you've done that.
Yeah.
Because it took me like 10 minutes to articulate that. But I did. I'm proud of myself. I said, I don't really like that you've done that because shouldn't you own your own opinion? Why are you asking someone else to decide for you? Like, why are you asking someone whether I'm a nice person or not? Why don't you just decide yourself?
For anyone listening to the previous part of this, which was like a month ago, and wondering why it was that James wasn't having a meltdown, rest assured, normal service has resumed. We're back in meltdown territory. The meltdown is on.
That's really, really unkind of you, Dan.
A Gay and A NonGay.
I'm breaking up with my therapist right now, so I'm very delicate.
What, you're binning him off?
No, I've been with a therapist for 20 months. Every week for 20 months, as well as seeing you, which has also been very much like therapy. I've been seeing a therapist and it's been really amazing, and I'm freaking out because I decided Oh my God, I have so much to tell you. A friend of mine told me they were in love with me. And I said to my friend at this point...
A man,
I was like, I don't know how to respond to that. I need to speak to my therapist. That was my response. That was literally my response. And that, for me, that was not okay. So I went straight into my therapist and said, this has just happened. I'm relying on you as a crutch. I don't want to do that anymore. I feel like I know myself better than ever. I'm very happy with that. But I now need to maybe take a break from this. And yeah, so we've spent 8 weeks, sort of, maybe less than that, just talking it through. And tomorrow is the last session.
right? Okay, and then what?
That's it.
I mean, if you want to follow Talia to Seattle, there's a great psychiatrist there.
How do you know that?
Well, it's the most famous psychiatrist in the world.
Who?
Frasier.
Hey baby, I hear the blues are calling.
Tossed salad and scrambled eggs.
Great.
Quite stylish.
What?
Maybe I see a bit. I got you pegged.
But I got you, man.
Good night.
I love Frasier.
Do you?
I love Frasier.
I think Frasier is part of the reason that I started doing radio as a kid, because my dad used to watch it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Anyway.
All through uni, all we did was watch Frasier. We'd like invite people back to our house and be like, me and my mate John, be like, you want to come watch Frasier? And like girls would be like, is that like does that mean something else? And we were like, no. Like, we've got like 10 episodes of Frasier on the planet. Like, we're going to watch him. Do you want to come?
That is so gay.
Okay, so that's why I think I'm overthinking everything. I'm just not I'm not very stable right now. I need to get through this and then come out the other side of it, I think.
Yeah, I know, get through this.
I know I've done the right thing. Dan
this.
is doing classic straight man thing here where he can't deal with emotion and it's just throwing any old shit out. So he doesn't actually have to deal with talking about something that's real. No, you're just quoting shit lyrics. Daniel Bedingfield and singing Frasier's theme tune at me. Like, what? That is so lame.
To our international
It's
listeners,
so funny.
Daniel Bedingfield is like a 2-hit wonder from the 90s. No, honestly, I just don't know what to say. I don't know what can I say.
Natasha Bedingfield's sister. I mean, brother.
Natasha
I'm
Bedingfield.
not asking you to say anything. I'm just talking to you.
Okay,
you don't have
cool.
to say anything.
All right, well, thanks.
Say nothing if you don't want to.
Thanks for the update.
So that's why I'm overthinking him anyway, because I'm going through this big turmoil thing.
Have you got anyone
I feel
else?
like I'm having a breakup, basically. It feels like a breakup. I've even been eating really bad food and drinking
really?
more and I said to her, as well, I was like, maybe we should just continue for a little bit longer, like, so that I'm delaying it. And I was like, oh, that's what I did with my ex. And in fact, she was like, isn't that what you did with your ex? I was like, yeah. So it's like, you know, when something's over, you've just got to get on with it. Probably like this episode.
Yeah.
I don't know, Dan. I feel really uncomfortable right now.
Should we get him on the podcast?
No, fuck off. To say what? My friend that I mentioned a minute ago, who's doing the background check, listens to this fucking podcast. I'm absolutely sure would have told. I said his name. Fuck. Can you beep that out? You have to beep that.
Beep what?
Thank you. Oh my God.
Lads.
Dan, I have to ask you a question. I keep meaning to ask you this question as a follow-up question. We're obviously doing our show live soon at the London Podcast Festival, but we recently did a live show as a sort of dummy run earlier in the year, and everyone was asking questions, and one of the questions was about has Dan ever had a finger slip up there during non-gay sex? And Dan said no, he's not had a finger put up there. And then we were talking for a while and I said, oh, I put a finger up there every day in the shower to just clean it and stuff. And Dan was like, no, that's disgusting. I just wondered if have you now, since my advice, stuck a finger up there? Wow. Yes, this is actually what you're listening to.
No, well, everyone seemed to think, the crowd's reaction seemed to think that I was in the minority. So I've done a 180 on that.
Yay! Congratulations! High five! So you have actually now put your finger up there?
Well, not like properly, but just like give it a flick or whatever.
What? Flick? That's not how bum sex works, but fine.
You know what I mean?
So you've like put soap on it and just caressed your hole a bit?
Well, just cleaned it, yeah.
I'm really happy for you. How far in would you have said you've gone?
Not
like
very.
to the first crease?
No.
Of your finger?
I don't
Everyone
know.
look at your finger.
I don't know.
That first crease. Is that how much have you put in?
I don't know. I'll have to think about it next time I'm in and let you know.
Okay. And how's that worked out for you? Do you think you're a happier person now that you know that your bum hole is clean?
It's fine.
It's what?
It's fine.
What do you mean it's fine?
It's the same. I feel the same.
You don't walk out the house feeling fresher?
No.
Like, oh, I'm so extra.
No.
Have you thought about then doing that during sex?
No.
It's hard for Dan to answer this question because his girlfriend is the executive producer of this podcast. But no, you haven't. Has anyone ever tried? I'm just intrigued to know because it's a G-spot. It's not a gay thing. That's the thing. It's actually not gay at all. Before you start being all like, "Oh, it's gay," it's actually not gay. Yeah, it's just part of your body that might feel good.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Right. So have you not?
No, I've told you this before.
But why
because
not?
I just haven't.
Why?
Because I haven't. I don't know. Why haven't you?
Because I'm not in a position where I'm in front of a girl. If that's what you were going to say.
No, I don't know what I was going to say, but can we move on? Why is this podcast suddenly turned into like, let's ask me loads of questions every week?
Because
can we go back to asking you questions every week?
You want me to go back to having a meltdown?
Yes.
Yeah, fine, great.
Please have a meltdown. Anyway, James is now having sex.
I don't know why you can't be an adult.
I'm being an adult.
Just answer the question.
Because
have your straight friends ever done it?
I have no idea.
Do you not ever talk to your mates about it? Like, you know, like when you've met up with mates in the pub and stuff, in the pub, like as student zone, like student time.
Student time.
Would they be like, oh, I had sex with this girl last night, she put her finger there or anything?
I don't know, I can't remember.
I just think people should be more free.
Yeah, well, great. Well, if anyone wants to get in touch with James and let them know.
What do you mean?
About whether they like that, then feel free to tweet him.
Yeah.
And in the meantime,
I know loads of straight guys that love it.
In the meantime...
I'm not trying to push something on you. I'm just trying to ask you a question.
In the meantime, James is going to continue to sleep with our listeners.
I don't know what to say to that.
But it feels a bit weird, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
What do you mean? No.
He's not really supposed to, I don't know, feels a bit unnatural. So.
Oh, God, really? Did you just say that? What feels unnatural?
Just like putting your finger in your bum. Can we just move on? Like,
Does it really feel unnatural?
I don't mean unnatural in the sense that you're just like
no, it's just like a bad word to use. I know you didn't mean it.
Yeah, I know.
I know you didn't mean it like that. Dan doesn't mean it like that, everyone.
Yes, I know. Can we move on? We'll see you at the podcast festival.
But I mean, to me, it doesn't feel natural. But for me, it's a line between like, oh, is this going to turn me on or not? Like, I'm in a rush. I've got to get out of the house.
Right.
So I can. Yeah.
You'll save it for your evening wank.
Way!
God, how do we get into that again? This was supposed to be. We were supposed to be talking about the pastry man. Didn't even get onto that.
Pastry man.
Pastry man is coming next week.
Pastry man coming soon.
If you want more, subscribe at gaynongay.com or on iTunes or, whoever your favourite podcast supplier is. Kisses. Mwah.